Welcome to another edition of the World Pork 2022 Recap and Reflection with DNA Genetics. Today I welcome Anu Frank-Lawale, Director of Genetics Programs. Welcome, Anu.
Hi. Hi, James. Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
You too. Can you give us a little bit of your background with DNA?
Yes. Interestingly, I joined DNA in January of this year, and one of the things that actually really attracted me to the company was what we'll be talking about later on today.
So a little bit of a tidbit here. And you were in the poultry industry before.
Yes, sir, I was. Yes, I worked with Cobb for a few years. Yes.
So DNA Genetics is a well-known company. Now, what makes you different and unique to producers?
Thanks. I would say what makes us unique really was what attracted me to the company. So having worked in genetics and animal breeding for a few years, um, I was really attracted to the DNA really of DNA genetics, which is the customer focus, right? One thing I believe is entirely unique about DNA genetics is that our parent company is actually a pig production company. So whereas a number of the genetics companies are genetic companies that provide genetic services, DNA genetics are pig people first. Okay, and so DNA genetics parent company grows 70,000. It has a 70,000 herd production unit, sow unit, which we slaughter about 2 million pigs a year. Okay, and so that is effectively what one might call a living laboratory. Okay, so we're collecting data not just on the nucleus, right, but on production. So we're not just experts at genetics, right? We're experts at pig production, and so all that information basically turns around and feeds our notion of creating a better pig, right? And so we serve our customer two ways, not just providing them the best genetics, but because we have a vast production experimental unit, you might say, we can actually deliver knowledge, not just on the genetics, but on production.
And that's through Pillen Family Farms.
I would say so. Yes, sir, that is.
Now, the World Pork was a few months ago. I thought the energy was really high at the show. What was your analysis of the show at the World Pork Expo 2022?
Yeah, so Jim, this is my first World Pork Expo. As you know, before I was coming from the poultry and actually the aquaculture world. Um, the first thing I realized, it was fantastic. It was fabulous. I mean, there was a lot of energy, there was a lot of knowledge being shared. But one thing I took away from it, certainly from the genetic side, is the fact that the companies are consolidating. So, right now there are a handful of companies, and this sort of reminded me a lot of the poultry world. So it was almost like stepping back to my old world and my old role. And that's a trend that's starting to continue. So thinking from the customer's perspective, it's like, wow, we want choice, but we also want excellence and great service. And so I believe that's where we're all headed.
So, what were you promoting at the World Pork Expo? And then what can we expect over the next 6 months coming out of DNA?
Thank you. Well, interestingly, I think that at DNA Genetics, we say, look, we're focused on what matters. We're focused on the customer, right? What was interesting for us and what we did at the Pork Expo was we really spent a lot of time engaging with our customers and telling them and showing them, look, we're here as a solution provider. We're providing the best genetics, but we're also providing the best knowledge of how our genetics works and how we interact with our customers. So at the Pork Expo, we were basically saying, come, let's learn from you, let's listen, because I believe that relationships really is what matters when we're trying to deliver a solution to a customer. We know we've got excellent genetics. We know we've got excellent knowledge on how our genetics work. But what we want to know is what you need. And so we basically spent a lot of time interacting. That was our focus at Pork Expo.
So, you're there to take it in and listen to what people need so then you can figure out how to serve them more effectively.
That is correct.
And so you guys put genetics into practice, and you've got the working laboratory, as we've talked about as well.
I believe so. That would be a great thing. Yes.
Well, Anu, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us on the World Pork 2022 recap and reflection.
Thanks very much for your time. Thanks, Jim.